Ladies, if you are over the age of 35, please watch this.
Positive Sweetie. I'm Krista Renee, and today we are talking about dating in your 40s. And when I think about dating in your 40s, the first song that came to mind was Destiny's Child, Independent Women. All my women independent, throw your hands up at me. And when I think of that, it's because I feel like once women get to their 40s, and they're still dating, they're definitely independent.
I'm going to talk to you about dating as we get older. Just so that you ladies understand. Do you understand that 35 is actually considered middle age? For some reason, a lot of us, and I had this impression at first as well, is that we always think, middle age, that's when we're 50. No, 50 is freaking old, okay? I'm 57. I'm old, okay? Not ashamed of it, because a lot of my friends never made it to this age. Quite a few of them are gone. So it tells you something. 35 is half of 70. The average individual lives to around 77. Most of them go before. So if 77, let's cut it in half. Half of 77? So what's that? 38 and a half? That's when you hit middle age, technically. But I can tell you a lot of people don't even reach there. So let's just say 35 is middle age. So when you ladies come about, I'm not old, you're freaking middle age when you're 35. When you're 30, that is when you start to lose your sexual marketplace value. Too many Disney movies have told you that, you're not old, girl. Age is just a number. Bullshit. The difference between a male and a female is that men have no sexual marketplace value when he's young. And when I'm talking about value, it is value to the opposite sex. So ladies, when you're talking about your value, we're not talking about your personal value, your accolades at school and what you do to your community. That's irrelevant to your sexual marketplace value. And if you guys have been watching a lot of this male content, we've been trying to tell you this for years. Kevin Samuels made it popular. But this is the entire society. In Japan, by the time you reach 25 and you haven't had a mate, you're called leftover. I can't remember the Japanese word for it, but you're called leftover.
In China, if you're a woman, single, and over 30, you are called 剩女, which means leftover woman in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you are called 羅底橙, 賣剩蔗, and 攝造啦, which means orange at the bottom of the basket, the sugar cane that didn't get sold, and the thing used for filling the gap of the stove. But if you're a man, single, and over 30, you are called 钻石王老五, which means a diamond bachelor in Mandarin. In Cantonese, you're called 筍盤, which means quality real estate.
You're what's left, because men haven't chosen you by then. This episode isn't about being left over. So in today's lesson, why am I calling it a lesson? Well, actually, they are a lesson. Because I got two guys that sent me this video to ask me what I think about it. And the reason why this is for the ladies, because it shows you something vital to the bullshit that you have been told about being the boss babe, getting the bag. Because one thing I can tell you without a doubt, I grew up with women who live this lifestyle. The Birkin bags, the Gucci's, the Chanel's, the shoes, every single thing, and they ignored settling down with a man. Beautiful women who just chase their careers and literally end up in their 50s there, because these are the girls that came up with me. Lonely, traveling alone, and really no one else to share it with except their dogs and cats. So I'm talking to you ladies. But before I go on, you know my drill. If you've been here before and you haven't subscribed, come on, subscribe. And if you've been watching a lot of my content and haven't hit the notification button and that subscription button, do it now. Do it now, please. And more importantly, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button so that the algorithm can keep spitting this out to more and more people. If the algorithm sees that you like my content, it will just start pushing it more and more. So help a brother out, guys. Please share this video with your lady friends who are chasing the bag and ignoring relationships. let's get into it. And I can tell you, this is a beautiful woman who, man, back in my day, I would be all over this. All right? But this isn't a woman who hasn't worked on herself. This is a woman who's got it together. Looking at her surroundings, if that's her home, she's definitely gotten what she was told was most important to her. But I'm going to break down exactly where she went wrong so that I can help the younger generation see what not to do. I'm going to also try to suggest to her what she has to do at this point in her life if she wants to have a relationship. Now, I have seen this so often amongst my successful female friends. Part of the beautiful thing about being my age is that I have seen life progressed. I have seen women who have been told this bullshit about getting the bag, ignore relationships, ignore the man, just ride that carousel, ride as much dick as you want during your best years, your 20s. That's your prime years. That's the stage of your life where you have the most value to a man. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? That is when your sexual marketplace value is at its peak. I have done videos on this before. That means you were given a bag of gold, diamonds, rubies. You're given that in your youth, ladies. That's when you're your slimmest. That's when you are at your peak to men. Do you understand what I'm trying to get across to you? Value is only determined by the person who assigns it to you. It is not what you put on yourself. Self-worth is different from sexual marketplace value. Your self-worth is how you see yourself and how you feel that you should present yourself to society so that they will respect you. Also known as self-respect. We're now living in a society where shame for women doesn't exist. Back in the day, shame was something that we assigned to people who did something that wasn't good for the society. It wasn't a criminal offense, but it wasn't good for society. When you do something that isn't good for society, we lock you up. It's a criminal offense. We charge you. But there are lesser offenses that are not conducive to the survivability, to the harmony, and to the maintenance of a society so that most people are happy. But what has happened is the whole feminist movement has told women that they should never feel shame for anything. You can be as fat as you want and people can accept you. You can have kids out of wedlock and people will accept you. You can ride as many men as you want and you don't have to be shamed about it. You don't have to feel shameful about it. However, let's just look at those three things. Number one, riding too much D. It stops a woman from peer bonding with one man. We know this. All the science is clear on this. There's no way you can ride 10, 15, 20 dicks and then come and say, I want to settle down with one man and be happy. That's out. That's number one. Having a child out of wedlock. Marry before you carry. In days gone by, if a woman got pregnant without having a husband, she was shamed. If you're riding too much dick back then, you were labeled as a whore. Now that's just like, I'm a hoe. They make it sound glamorous. It's no longer whore. It's hoe now. Doesn't sound, yeah, I'm a hoe, ha 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 ha, I'm a hoe. It's shameful, right? Let's look at the third one. Oh, yeah, I'm fat. You should accept me for that. No, you're unhealthy and you're a burden to society. Most of the health problems right now in society is because most people are obese in the West. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Shame. But none of these offenses are severe enough to be considered criminal offenses. So they come in the category of shame. But because we can't shame women, they feel that they have the complete liberty to get away with any and everything. That's where the problem comes. And who are the first teachers of society? What? Did you say women? I could swear you said women. Yes, it is women. the first teachers and the primary teachers of any society are women. And what do we get? Women that don't give a shit. Women that don't give a shit at the home. Women that don't give a shit in the schools. So what do we have? Weak men and women who looks at being a hoe as a easy street to more money. Should I mention Miss Kim Kardashian? Miss Sex Tape? Every single female rapper right now, the primary messages on every single freaking rap song is what? A pink pea and a brown booty hole. Every freaking song that guys sent to me. I don't listen to this music, but that's where we are as a society, especially in the black community. But I digress a bit, but I needed to get that point across. Guys, like the video. Please like the video so that the algorithm can keep doing its job. All right, so let's listen to this woman, and I'm going to break down her problems. She's the quintessential black woman that every single man would love to have in his corner as his queen. However, not at this age. So let's listen. I'm going to have to stop it every once in a while because she says some profound things that is blatantly obvious to a lot of men, but women never hears this message. All right, so let's get into it.
I just turned 40 in October, and it was something that clicked. It was something that clicked. It's like, I'm literally the day I woke up after my party, I was like, whoa, I had so much clarity on things.
Age does provide clarity. Just say, why do you think I can speak on these things with such clarity and serious conviction? Because I've been there. That's why it's important to listen to older people that don't lie to you. That's the most important part.
And I was very sure about what I wanted to do, how I wanted it, and all those things. But leading up to that, I work in a very vain industry, in an industry that's always looking for the youngest and the hottest and the next. And I was worried, like, Lord, am I getting older? And we also live in an industry where we don't tell people our age.
No, she laughs, but listen to the laugh. It's a nervous laugh because she realized that age is important. But she's one of these that have been told, don't worry about your age, you just get the bag, girl. You'll be happy. Now, reality is slapping her in the face like a ton of bricks.
So like even on my invitation, I was very strategic about not putting that I was turning 40 because I just didn't want to put that out there.
This is your first lesson. Right up front in the interview, she's explaining to you, when you hit 40, shit gets real. It starts at 30, just so you understand. Let's keep listening.
When you're dating in your 40s, there's so many factors that come into place. Your biological clock is ticking. Society has put so much stress on, you need to get married by this age, you need to start having... No, society don't place that stress on you. Here's a contradiction of what she said. Your biological clock is ticking, right? That shit is real. She's past geriatric pregnancy. Geriatric pregnancy starts at around 35, 36. Yeah, now you can push it with, our advance in technology and medicine. But 40, yeah, you're really pushing it. More than likely, she will probably have to have a cesarean for her first child. But the point I'm trying to get across is, one, she says, oh, I know my biological clock is ticking. Yeah, your body is telling you, hey, let's go. Now she's blaming it on society. Women have this cunning ability to just move accountability and responsibility to something else. This isn't freaking society. Society tells you what is true, which is your biological clock is ticking. Point is, society is telling you the truth. So I don't understand why you keep pushing it off as if society is telling you a lie. It's a friggin' fact. Do you understand who society is? Society is the general people outside of you. It's no longer about you. It's everybody else. It's the collective. You gotta listen to that shit. Children by this age. And my acting career got started very late. And what I thought was late, but then I realized some of the greatest artists there are started in their 40s. So I'm actually not as insecure about that as I was before, but I was worried about that. My biological clock is ticking. I found myself attracting like 20-year-olds. And I was like, what is this? 'Cause I know I don't look 40. That was the first thing. I don't look like how old I am, but I was attracting young people. And with that, it became a stress because I knew they wanted children. I'm like, okay, these are conversations we have to have. And I always wanted to date somebody that's either my age or a little older. And honestly, that already had children because I didn't want that pressure. I don't want the pressure of, okay, if he wants children, I can't give him that. Like, what if I passed that stage in my life? And another thing that's really hard about dating in your 40s is, for me, is finding a man that's not intimidated.
Oh, God. I'm going to identify 3 issues that she mentioned here. Number 1, she's only attracting guys in their 20s. Unfortunately, we have created so many mama's boys. A lot of these boys are looking for women who've made it, that they can hang on to their coattails on. She wants a man. That's as simple as that. I could elaborate on that, but that's the gist of it, just so I don't draw out this video too long. Second thing she said is she wants a man in her age range. Here's the problem with that. The value of a man doesn't come into effect until around 35, 40, and he peaks around 55. That's when he makes his maximum amount of gains as a man. Monetary gains, physical gains. That's it. That is his prime years. Hers was in her 20s. That's why a lot of young women want older men with resources. Young men don't have resources. The men that she's getting attracted by, so the men that attracted to her are in his 20s with no resources. That's what she's failing to tell you. These guys don't have shit to offer her except a good hard one. That's it. Some good looks, chiseled cheekbone, flat abs, but he has no resources. 99.9% of men don't accumulate resources until they're in their 30s, mid-30s and up. What she's failing to tell you, they never qualified as long-term partners. I'm sure she rode some of the car cells, right? The old CCs. But she realized these were not long-term plays. She wants men in her age range. 45, that's when he's at his peak, man. 45 to 55, that's when a man is pulling it in. He's learned the game. I'm talking about the top 1 to freaking 5% men, because that's all she's going to be looking for, because she's made it. She's not going to look for a man below her. So the problem now is that those men want the freaking 20-year-olds because he wants kids. He don't only want one. What the hell am I going to work for? To kill myself, to get resources, to die and leave it to who? 1 child? No, I want at least 3. Can she give me 3 kids? No, she can't. Not at 40. By the time she meets a man she's going to be around and realize that he's the good man, she's going to be around 42, 41, 42. By the time she has the first kid, she'll pop that out at 43. By the end, you want to be having kids at 44, 45? No, you won't. No, you don't. So understand what's going on here, guys. And of course, we go back to the standard, men are intimidated by me. Listen, men don't get intimidated by women. Men get put off. Intimidation is a beautiful word women love to use. What is intimidation? Meaning scared of. Men are put off by women who have made more than them. Why? Because that woman will always be throwing that shit in his face. Number 2, she usually comes with an attitude because she feels that she's superior to him. So don't care how much he tries to enforce his masculinity, she will always feel that she has one trump card higher than his, and she's going to assert it. That's her nature. Remember, women fight psychologically, and this is her biggest psychological weapon. You broke ass, go out and get some money. Why can't you work harder? This ain't your money, this is my money. I can spend it whatever the hell I want. Sounds familiar? Yeah. So, men don't get intimidated. They don't want to put up with the psychological bullshit that comes with your sense of superiority. That's all. It's not intimidation. Get it out of your head, ladies. Men don't get intimidated. You know the only way men get intimidated? Here's a secret. When there's a bigger man that could fuck him up. That's it. Men are intimidated by the power of another man. Okay? And it's usually physical. If the man has power, meaning he has an army behind him, that will intimidate another man. If his opponent is bigger, stronger, that will intimidate him because he realizes where his position is. Get it straight, ladies. Women don't intimidate men. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can settle into a role where you understand that if I try to exert any of my financial positions in my relationship when I'm with a man who makes less than me, the results won't be good. More than likely, you will lose your man. So it's always choices and trade-off. But here's the shitty part about understanding this problem with women now. Now that women earn more than men, if you then choose to leave your man, he can come after you for alimony because you out-earn him. Bear that in mind. Men are waking up and saying, hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Of course, I want someone who has something going on for themselves. Of course, I want somebody who can do the things for me that I can do for them, but it doesn't have to always be on the level that I do it because that's not what I need you for. I need love. I need affection. I need the love languages. And there's 5, and I need all of them.
Okay, you see, there's 5, and I need all of them. And this is where the problems come in with dating older women. Their demands are fucking over the top because as their social status goes up, their financial status goes up, and as their age goes up, right? These 3 things have no value for men, by the way. None. Because men know that your money is not his money. Remember this, a man makes money, works his ass off all of his life so that he could provide for a wife and his family. A woman makes money and she wants to make as much money so that she don't need a man. Do you understand how far apart these 2 things are? So now what she's saying is that she don't need a man. And what's the one thing men need in a relationship? All men want to feel wanted. They want to feel needed. We are the workhorses of society. We know that's our purpose. If we do not have a purpose to protect and provide for our family, then what's the sense of our existence? Understand, ladies, that's how men are. You all don't understand this. When you make a man feel worthless, it sucks his soul out. It sucks the essence of who he is out. So when she says, I don't need a man, that's what she's saying to the man. I'm taking your soul. Does a man, which man wants that shit? This is the problem men have with dating older women. Women price themselves out of the market. It's a sorry case to watch, but this is the realities of life. I wish it wasn't so. Because the man that she wants has to make more money than her. Even though she's saying it, don't ever listen to what a woman says. Watch what she does. Because I can assure you that if she has a man that makes less money than her, and if she don't understand that, hey, there's a certain lifestyle where I'm now going to have to maintain if I want this man to be part of my life. Yeah. Because let me explain what I mean by that. Let's just say she wants to go to her finest restaurant, okay? Each plate gonna run you around $700-800. You know, walk out the restaurant paying around $1,400 for a meal, just for a meal. Fine dining, some good wine, you know, the best of the best, right? You walk out that restaurant, $1,400. The man that you now have at home, that's 50% of his monthly salary. 50%. How often you think he could do that and pay that bill without digging into your pocket? Maybe once a year. Maybe. All right? So that means you're handling the bill, baby. You're handling the majority of the bill. So now you say to yourself, oh, well, I'll pay for it. But he needs to have those 5 love languages ready for me. 5 love languages. What is that? I don't even know what the hell 5 love languages are. So now this man got to freaking jump through every freaking hoop that you say, oh yeah, you missed love language number 3. You're not showing me love language number 4. And guess what? Last month, I only had love language number 2. You get what I'm talking about? I need all 5 of them. No, I understand you might be saying that with just having a bit of a poke and a fun, but the reality of it is you're kind of serious. You're kind of serious in the sense that you're going to be expecting a lot more from this man if he cannot put up financially. That's what you're basically saying, isn't it? Let me know.
I need someone that is emotionally supportive to me, someone that supports my career. And I've found that a lot of men are not in a space of maturity or even have the bandwidth to give me that. They're so used to just buying women and, oh, I'll go do this, I'll pay for this, and everything's going to be okay. No, I need you to be my homie, my lover, and my friend.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm talking about? The problem with women in relationships, and especially women at this age, is now she wants to buy the things that the man cannot provide financially. She wants to buy the homie, the friend, and whatever the other one is. I've been married almost 20 years now, okay? I can tell you one thing, guys and ladies. I am not all 5 at any one point. You cannot look at one human being, and expect him to be your best friend, your champion cheerleader, it freaking don't come like that. Because we don't put that sort of thing on women either. But if you're going to demand that from your man, you need at least 3 different men. Because Disney have freaking sold you guys this bullshit notion that a man has to be perfect in order for him to be qualified for you. So quite a few women who have told me, oh, I'm considering divorce. It's usually happening in their late 30s, early 40s. For some reason, just go nuts. Especially if they look good, they're still healthy and, got their shit together and they're posting photos on Instagram and they're getting all of these great comments. They swear they still got it. These are freaking middle-aged women. Usually, most of them already had kids. And they swear they could leave their husbands of 5, 10, 15 years because they're not happy. And I give them this one piece of advice. So I always ask women, do you think that 40% of the time, you're happy in your marriage? Most of them will say, yeah. So I said, most of the time you're unhappy then, yeah? So I said, that 60%. And so I say, that 60% when you're not unhappy? What percentage of it is your problem? Most of them don't even think about this. I said, let's just say, do you think that maybe half of that unhappiness is yours? So let's just say 30% of that is your problem. Now I want you to imagine if you fix that 30%, if he didn't do anything, but you fix that 30%, and you add it to the 40% that you have, you're now 70% happy. Do you not consider that successful in a relationship? 70% of the time you're happy. And imagine if you could just get him to work on 10%. Just 10. Now you're up to 80%. Who's winning? Who's winning? And I said to them, because I can tell you one thing, and this is the truth. I said, I usually have women 10 years younger than you, without any kids, who can't find a good man. So what make you think at 37, 41, 45 years old that you're going to get back out on these streets with freaking 2, 3 kids and have success at finding a good man better than your husband? Because I can tell you that after you ride a few dicks, couple of months, maybe a couple of years, that shit gets old and you're back to square one. You end up with a guy that's not your baby father in the same shit. But now your problems have multiplied because you got a disgruntled ex-husband. You have a man who has to look after your kids. He's not happy all the time. So now you're now looking at a happy percentage rate of less than what you have right now, with less problems. Rethink your wiring. Go and get therapy. Ask your husband for both of you to go and sit down and get therapy, because I can tell you, these streets are ruthless. It's like an addiction. Those first couple of hits are great. It wears on your ass very quickly. And guess what? The older you get, the harder it gets. Stay your ass in your marriage. That's always my advice. All right, let's proceed.
Even dating, I just haven't found all three of those things in a man. When I think about some of my
It's like setting up a shopping list and thinking that she can find all of these things in one man. You see the narcissism and the craziness. And what is she bringing to the table? My dear, I'm looking at the phone like I'm talking to her. My dear, I'm telling you, I'm not criticizing you, but I'm not hearing what you can bring to a man to make him any happier with your age and your mindset. I'm scratching my head. I can't see it. I'm going to listen a little longer and just see if something is here. But
one of the best dates I ever had, I was living in D.C., and this was when The Devil Wears Prada was out. Anybody who knows me knows I can quote The Devil Wears Prada from top to bottom. Like, I love that movie. And I had never taken a train ride before, so we took the train from D.C. to New York. He took me to Nobu 57. And this is like when Nobu was like just starting to pop, because he was in every rap song. So like it was like, oh, we going to Nobu tonight. So we went to Nobu, and then the next day he took me to see The Color Purple. After the play, he took me to Smith and Lewinsky, which was the restaurant that Meryl Streep had Anne Hathaway go get her lunch. And when she brought it, she goes, oh, I don't need that. I'm going to have lunch with Demarchier. And she was like, pissed. So she takes the plate and throws it in the sink, and the plate cracks and all this stuff. So we went there. We got the exact same steak that Meryl Streep had ordered, or that Anne Hathaway had ordered for Meryl Streep. And I was like, this is the most thoughtful Valentine's Day I've ever had, and probably still one of the most thoughtful weekends somebody's like really planned out for me. And then we got back home. He bought me my first Louis Vuitton bag, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. And then I found out that he was a scammer.
And this is Disney at its finest. Disney at its finest. And this is what has happened to a lot of these women. They have been, what they call it, flued out all over the world. Dubai, we see them here all the time. Girls from all over the US, Canada, flew out here on the yachts, finest restaurants. Everything is just Disney perfect. Get their guts pound out, right? Flew back off. To men of means, this is a drop in the bucket. This is like pissing away 50 cents to do this for these women. It's like 50 cents to a normal guy. They could do this 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. That's the kind of wealth that these men are dealing with. So these women have been subjected to all of this crazy shit by men, because they post a few photos out on freaking Instagram. And these men are just freaking picking these women off of the freaking menu like they're ordering from McDonald's, because it's just a happy meal. That's it. So she has been subjected to that shit. So what happens? She has now ignored every single normal man in her coming up. What she should have done was found a good, normal, hardworking guy, work with him, still doing what she's doing, but both of them build together. That's the man that would have been with her from her prime years and built with him. Wow. Let's continue. I'm interested in this story.
Yeah. They always say when things seem to be too good to be true, they probably are. And I was like, Lord, how does this man work for the government and he's scamming? He had this man, and I don't want to be stereotypical, because if you live in Atlanta, we know there's a lot of scammers. and most of them are of African descent. So he had this African friend who he owed him some money, and he was like, hey, babe, can whatever his name was put this money in your account? So I was like, sure. So I wake up one morning and there's like, I wake up and there's like a negative $1 million on my bank statement. I'm like, a negative $1 million? I'm like, first of all, I'm working for the government. I know I ain't making no $1 million. I'm like, and who pulled out $1 million? And why is it saying negative?
She lucky she got off with it.
But I dated this other guy who was a little older, and one of my biggest pet peeves is someone who doesn't tip well. Judge me if you want to, but I feel like when there are people in hospitality, you should take care of them, especially if they look out for you, and especially if I'm taking because I actually set the reservation up because that was another thing. I was always having to set up everything. I'm like, bro, dog, like, can you do anything? Like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand that about men who, like, it's like the courtship has been lost. Like, how men used to, like, send flowers. We're going to talk about that, too. How men used to send flowers, take time in advance to set up, hey, I want to take you out on this day. They wait till the day of, like, oh, what are you doing tonight? There's no initiative anymore.
Women want control, and men are exhausted. And men found out that, you know what? I can't please her. I don't know what will please her. So I can either make a decision and she don't like it, we have a problem, or make her make the decision and I'll just go along with it. This is what men are doing these days. So, ladies, understand why men doing what they're doing right now. Because men don't want drama, especially older men. We don't want a drama. I had another woman who complained about this shit. Oh, he don't make any decisions. I have to do everything. Because at your age, you just bitch and moan every single time he makes a decision that you don't like. With a younger girl, she's go, okay, I'm ready. All right, let's go. Because every experience is new to her. Older broads, they have been there, done that, and they've been to every single freaking place you can imagine. They've been flued out, pound out, whatever the hell you want to call it. They have had all these experiences with the tremendous amount of dates. So men at our age, we know that, okay, where the hell she's going to want to go? I don't know. She's going to get upset if I screw up. So you know what? You do it. I'll go along with you. That's where we are as a society with dating right now.
We're going to talk about the flowers real quick. So I love flowers. Anybody who knows me knows that I love flowers. Do you know I dated this guy and he literally looked me in my face and said, do you know why I haven't gotten you flowers? And I was like, why? I do want to know. Actually, yes. And he said, because you want them. What sense does that make? He said, but when I do it, he said, it's going to be so elaborate. You're going to be like, oh my gosh.
That's a pile of bullshit. This is a lazy guy, right? If you know the woman like flowers, takes nothing out of you, once a week, get her a bunch of flowers. If you got the money behind you, just throw a few flowers in, man. That's not, make a call. You can have a rotation of flowers coming in every Thursday. You have apps now. You can just freaking get flowers. You don't even have to think about that shit. $20 once a week. She gets a fresh bunch of flowers delivered. Hey, they deliver it to your office. You take them home. Hey, honey, kiss, boom. You're good to go. She's happy. It costs you $20. Okay, stops her from bitching and moaning for the next 7 to 8 hours. It's worth it, trust me.
And I was like, you're making no sense. If you know this is a part of my love language and this is something that makes me happy, do it. Because I do that for you. And that's another thing, understanding like how people need to be loved, because the way I love may not be the way my man needs to be loved. So understanding that, hey, okay, Crystal's love language is all the love languages. So let me make sure at some point I'm touching her. Let me make sure at some point I give her affection. Make sure at some point I give her affirmations. I give her gifts. I do acts of service for her. And I feel like that's all encompassed in a relationship. And I'm not saying do all those things every single day, but like.
Is that what they call love languages? This is standard shit. Someday, make sure you touch your woman. Always connect. You always do something nice. You know, we have a 2-level villa. My wife loves to eat upstairs. You know, she puts the dishes down. You know, if I'm going downstairs, I will make sure I grab those dishes and take them down for her. Act of service. Takes nothing away from me. It's on my way. No, not a problem at all. Make sure I tell her I love you every day when she goes off to work. We kiss. These are acts that they now call what? Love languages? This is freaking standard relationship. And this is the big issue, is that most people don't know what a relationship is. She has not been in a relationship.
Just consistently let me know, hey babe, I see you, I hear you, and I feel you. And when he did that, I was just like, okay, this is crazy. I was like, you're not my guy. You can go. And the other guy who didn't tip well, it was just like, if you don't treat, I feel like if you don't treat, the way you treat like waiters and people who are there to serve you, if you don't treat them right, that's an immediately dismissal for me. Situation where I'm open, I used to like to stay in the house all the time. And I was like, Crystal, you're never going to find a man if you don't leave the house. But y'all, even just getting ready, putting the makeup on, doing your hair, finding an outfit, just going to shop for an outfit because you feel like I don't have nothing to wear. And then you get out there and nobody approaches you.
And this is another problem with waiting until you're too old to get into the dating market. Dating is work. It's a full-time job. Do you understand that? I'm talking to you young ladies. You think, oh, I got all the energy now. I can feel like doing this, blah, blah, blah. When you're hitting your late 30s, 40s, everything is a freaking effort. Because in your brain, what you start to think about is, I got so much more important things to do than to actually spend an hour putting on makeup and picking out an outfit. Just that alone. So you just killed an hour to actually go out with the potential of not attracting someone. That's the problem. It's exhausting. And women don't take this into consideration. And I'm so glad she's bringing it home. Men, it's different. We know what the hell we're going to wear easy. It's not a big issue. But women now, especially when they get older, they got to put more effort into looking good. You can't just slap makeup on anymore. That shit has to be done perfect. I like my woman natural. That's just me. I don't need to see a woman overly makeup, regardless how old she is. But I'm only going by modern woman beauty standards these days. It takes time and effort. And she has laid it out. I'm glad she admits it. I feel sorry for women that have to go through this shit. But as you get older, it gets exhausting. Because potentially, this could all be for nothing.
I find myself coming home, I've done spent $200 on a meal and drinks, and still ain't got no action. What's going on? I'm still trying to figure it out.
And now she knows how men feel when they're young. Okay? This is how all young men feel. This is just standard for us. So, you want to be like a man? You want to act like a man? You want to step into this male role? Now you're experiencing it. Welcome.
And people are like, men don't approach you. I'm like, no, nobody approaches me. I'm like, I don't know if I look like I'm mean, or some people say I'm unapproachable. Other people say, oh, you look like you already got a man. I'm like, I don't. I don't know if I need to just put a sign on back. I'm single, ready to mingle, and maybe somebody will holler. But like, I try to like be more conscious of like smiling at people, starting conversation or saying hello, just so the guy can know like, okay, she's interested, or that was an invitation to have a further conversation. But y'all don't get it. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, we get it. Men do get it. But when they analyze your age, your status as an individual, and when they've had enough conversation with you to realize that, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this shit, they're out. They get it. For some reason, when women act like men are stupid, and the men that she want, the 40-year-olds, listen, Crystal, men get it. These aren't boys that you're talking to. Men get it. The men who you want, the 40s, the 45, the 46, 48, 50-year-old men that are in your spaces right now, the successful men, because I'm sure that's where you're going. You're going to those successful spaces.
Like, I don't understand. Help me. I need somebody to respond to this and tell me what I need to do.
I hope I'm giving you guys enough info so that you all can relay this information to other women and send this video to other women. I'm going to end with this one little piece of information. Men are very freaking intuitive, especially the men that are hanging out in the spaces that you are in. Because I'm sure you're not freaking hanging out at some back of the bush freaking bar. And I'm sure that you're talking to men who are educated, entrepreneurial, has some measure of success, and more, in other words, and more than likely, they're in the top 1 to 10%. So, those men, they get it. They just don't want a 40-year-old middle-aged woman. Regardless of how beautiful you are, they don't want it. I hate to say it, but don't ever think that men are stupid, that they don't get it. That's the part that kind of ticked me off right there, because it's implying that men are not smart enough to understand that, hey, you're trying to make a move, you're trying to be nice. These are men with experience already, because those are the men you're looking at, aren't you? So, guys, please go over to this channel, watch the rest of this video, because I think you guys will get a lot more from her. And hey, let me know what you guys think. But by all means, I think you guys can learn a lot from this. You can learn a lot about female nature. You can learn a lot about women who are trying to date in their later age, and hopefully give your female friends who are still stuck in this boat some advice.